live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Mick Strawn.
This is based on a book from Sweden. Oscar, or Oscar if you're American.
Gotcha.
An overlooked and bullied boy finds love and revenge through, I think her name was E-Leaf. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
E-L-I.
A beautiful but peculiar girl.
Yes. Very peculiar.
So I saw this when it first came out on rental. I rented it from Blockbuster. Actually.
Really?
And I watched it and I was like, I actually really enjoyed it back then. So I wanted to do it again because we were doing Dracula.
Yeah.
I thought this would be good kind of to mix it in there.
Yeah. It was astounding.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And here's the thing about it is a really, really long film. It's like just shy of 2 hours.
It's definitely a Swedish film because it feels like an Ingmar Bergman.
Yeah, there's has
that flow to it.
It also has a horizontality to it. You know, all the design is framed within a space that puts characters like a little to the side of the center, and the center of it is always like in the 1/3 segment, and it gives you this very rectangular feel, and you find yourself, you know, in a rectangle, you find yourself traveling. One thing about a square is, in fact, we were just watching square screens for the Dracula film.
Yeah.
And I have to say that one thing about watching something on a square screen like that is you catch all of it immediately.
And they always center everything.
Yeah, and everything is
There's
centered.
no leading, like...
Yeah, there's no leading... There's no letting the thing is if you're doing something in a rectangle, if you're filming that way, it changes the way that you film. You start to move.
Head on. What?
You start to move into it because you can't.
Well, yeah, like dollies, like that Dracula where they're dollying in and then.
Right, exactly.
But every shot I can think of is like centered and.
But then we're here modern. We're doing these rectangular things and the camera, and it felt a lot like the camera just stayed in one place and the people moved.
Well, that was kind of the feel of the movie, though. It kind of.
That's what I'm saying. Is slow. There was a slow.
You're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, and
the action comes in,
and it's coming in
like there's shots in the playground,
slowly, right? Like the shots in the playground, which are just left off center, and your characters can move from one side of the screen all the way over to the other without. And there's something
there's
kind
high
of
angles too inside.
Yeah, there's something kind of primal about there. It doesn't have a lot of the sophistication of up tight shots. Yeah, you know, of mixing up the shots.
Well, this wasn't a true horror film. It was also a love story and a coming of age story. Really.
Oh yeah, all the way through. And
the poor kid was being bullied, and he. You know, his parents were separated.
I know,
and it was weird when he went to see his dad. It was like a totally different world.
Yeah,
he was in.
He's in a different world, and then and you're following these two.
Right. And then the girl with her guardian. I was like, there's some weird things going on with the guardian. Like, what is he into this for?
But then in the end, why did he off himself? I don't understand. There were so many things that were.
There's a swimming pool scene though. That's probably one of my favorite scenes.
And the thing is when something violent happens in this film, it's incredibly violent. It's incredibly well shot, and it leaves you just your jaw.
Yeah. Well, that scene, the first time I saw it, I'm like, because
there's a scene.
You know something's happening because you can hear noises, and he just has his eyes closed. He's underwater.
There's a scene at a window that just leaves you. There's
a lot of good scenes, especially where she attacks people and stuff. Yeah, it's like,
man, I gotta tell you, there was so much stuff in there that was so cool and well thought out, and to me there was something about it like this is a kind of a vampire and a boy's coming of age film smashed in as one, but it's also a thinking person's film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of
it wasn't a lot of gore, but it was.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of gore, but when there was, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And the thing is there was there was a lot of kind of comment on society, and I have to admit that I first started watching it, and I watched about the first half hour, and I didn't care at all. But then I had to go out, and when I came back.
Oh, I just love how it looks. I mean, like,
I know
it looks so cold. Like, you know, the way they shot it when they were outside.
But it looks uncomfortable.
I'm like shivering.
There's something about it that is, it's uncomfortable. But the thing
he's so pale.
After you get into it, you know, it's almost like that first half hour that I didn't like when I came back.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden I was ready for it.
And the girl, she did an amazing job of acting like an older soul. You know what I mean? Like she'd been there for a long time.
Right. And there was so much stuff about her that was indeterminate.
Right.
And she plays
a lot of mystery there.
So.
And there's a mystery around her guardian. You don't know what's going on, and then he's trying to help her.
Right. Well,
so she doesn't have to do what she has to do. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't have to kill people.
Right. Exactly. And the cool thing about her is that she's trying to explain to him who she is when she doesn't know who she is at all. I'm not a girl.
That was a great scene when she climbs into bed with him, and she has blood on her face, and she's like, "I'm not a girl."
Right, but what she really means is she's not a human.
Yeah,
you know, and you don't get that until you're like really.
And he figured it out later. He's like, "Are you a vampire?
Are you a vampire?" Yeah, right. That's right.
There was one scene I didn't understand where she was watching him in the swimming pool. I'm like, "How did she get there?" Because I think it was during the day,
and she had already left on the train out of town, didn't she? We saw her at the station.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had been dropped off at the station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was trying
to figure out what time of day it was.
That was why she was supposed to be gone.
Because she couldn't be outside, obviously, during the day.
Yeah, but obviously they were playing with pretty short days.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's
true. Winter time.
Pretty far north.
Yeah.
You know, it's
the mother was kind of lame. I was just like.
Yeah, the mother and that one blonde was.
Did you catch what the first words were?
What?
Squeal like a pig.
Squeal like a pig. Well, yeah, that's.
Those
you know
bullies.
what? There is one thing that I did comment here that I thought was kind of interesting. Is it seems like everybody had to pee at some point in the snow.
Right.
What was that all about?
They mentioned yellow snow a lot too. It's like,
yeah. Oh, and there was a scene with cats. That was, I mean, it was.
Oh, the cat scene.
It was
yes.
so utterly serious.
I was thinking of Strays.
It was.
I kept thinking of Strays.
I wish we had a shot like that in Strays. That would have been
was an awesome shot. Yeah,
that shot was.
I was
awesome.
like, where did all the cats come from?
You know,
like 20 of them.
And you know, I'm going to comment here right about Strays. One of the things that bothers me personally about Strays is that. At any given time, when you had 15 cats in the room, you could only get they could only fake interest out of 5 of them at any given time to like be focused. Like, oh, the cats are gonna kill them. Well, yeah, but you know, the thing at the same time, 50% of them are
just
gonna
around.
lick their paws.
Yeah.
However they did it. Because obviously there was a lot of gags going on in that one scene. But every cat had only one thing to do, and it was doing it. And it was just hilarious.
But just the way the cats reacted when the vampire was coming.
They were great, yeah.
Which is exactly why you need a cat in your house. Anyway, just saying that.
Nobody needs a cat in their house.
This was a very quiet movie.
It was a very quiet movie.
And that's what made it amazing. And I thought you would hate it because I think we've talked about movies being too slow or where nothing happens. And that's how the first part of this was.
For some reason, like I said, I was not in it in the beginning. And here's another thing that I found is I tried to skip through it and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Because for some reason I was like, well, am I going to do this thing or not? Because obviously all that waiting
there's a reason.
Was a reason for it. and there was. I mean, you know, there's no doubt that
it was like Mother. They made you wait for a long time for something.
Don't bring up Mother. Don't bring up my mother. I hate it when you do that. No, the editing, it would have been a completely different film, but it was the film that was.
It was very Swedish.
And it was a very, very cool film. I mean, it was doing something different.
Yeah. And the child actors were amazing. Every actor was
amazing. But the girl and the boy, they were astoundingly good.
Right. Well, the bully was pretty good too.
Yeah.
His ear got.
Yeah, and then the other one that would start crying in the middle of like being a bully, which I didn't quite know what was going on there. I mean that's the thing.
There's a weird thing where he was talking under his breath, like
everybody had layers to them.
Yeah,
you know, and you didn't know what those layers were going to reveal.
And there was a point where he stood up to the bully that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in that one.
And
scene.
then the bully stands on his side, and then it was a pretty awesome film all the way along, I have to say. Took me a little bit to get into it, but once I did, and what period was this? It was not modern.
I couldn't figure it out. I was thinking 60s for a while. Well, 70s maybe.
Yeah, because I thought that they referred to Khrushchev being in power, so that would have had to have been the 60s. 60s or early 70s, right? Yeah, that would have been Khrushchev. So
the best line I thought was, "I must be gone to live or stay to die."
The fire.
Wasn't that a great sign?
Yeah, yeah.
I must be gone to live or stay to die.
Right, or stay to die. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. The fire scene was amazing.
Man, and talk about staying within the horizontal frame of. I mean, just looking at it and then whoosh. It gave me chills. I got to tell you, all the effect sequences in this thing, there weren't many, but when they were there, they absolutely knocked you across the room every time.
Did you notice that after the violent pool scene, the kid that was sitting in the bleachers was still covering his eyes?
Right, yeah. So I was like, oh.
He was afraid to look.
That's right.
So one thing I thought was interesting, the fact that good and evil was coexisting. Like, so the Guardian who was taking care of the vampire, he had to do a lot of horrible things to keep her alive.
Right.
But he seemed like a good guy. Like, he was... Right. And he felt bad about it.
And he felt bad about it.
It was a really weird dynamic there.
You know, that's what I meant about everybody in this had layers. You know,
there was a lot going on with all the characters, except for the mom and there were a couple of characters that were kind of...
But there was a complexity to them that was...
and the dad was kind of... hardly a song, but... I just enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I had to say... You have to get through the first half hour. You have to slow down and then with the film.
I'd seen it before, but the first time I saw it, I was already in it. Like, I don't think I got bored because I was, at the time, I guess I just watched a lot of Swedish movies and a lot of European movies, so I'm kind of used to that kind of, like, once I know it's in Swedish, I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be kind of slow.
It's going to be kind of slow.
I like the whole dark look. Like, immediately I liked it when I first watched it because I liked how it looked and how it felt.
Yeah.
Like, just because it was so cold.
Well, like I said, I was having trouble getting into it.
They could have improved some things. Like, when she jumped off the jungle gym, they could have had her float or something a little bit more. Like, she kind of jumped. I mean, it was just... I'm nitpicking now.
You know what? I just liked it all the way through. I just liked it.
I'm nitpicking a little bit.
The thing is sometimes I look at something like this, which has a completely foreign balance to it. Okay? I mean, the amount of time that was taken for shots, what the characters were doing, how they played the depth of the characters, and then the incredible violence that happened in there.
Especially in American movies, it's really rare to develop characters in horror movies like to a level like this, and still have it be interesting.
Well, no. See, the thing is we're vacuous and vacant human beings walking as a group of peanut husks through our days. Right. So we don't deserve this kind of thing.
That was a very good description. I like that. Makes you want to move somewhere else.
It does. Quickly. Now.
Here's the interesting thing is I actually watched the English. They actually made an American version of this movie.
Oh, did they?
And I watched it.
That must have been horrible.
I wasn't that excited about it.
That must have been bad.
I can't remember when it was. It was recently.
Well, that wasn't very good at all.
So the remake was in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Let Me In.
Right.
It wasn't Let the Right One In.
Gotcha.
It was Let Me In, and It was a decent one, but I thought it was pretty bad myself because I was comparing it to the Swedish one.
Right.
So it wasn't as interesting. It was more straight on.
Well, I like Chloe Grace Moretz.
So it might be worth watching, but I don't remember it being that spectacular.
Yeah. I don't think Richard Jenkins is the father. I don't know about that.
But it's the same story.
That's pure American casting right there.
Yeah, totally.
The little trope of asking somebody in, if you're a vampire, you need to be.
Oh, you have to ask it. Yeah.
Yeah. The quote unquote explanation that they kind of gave in there, and I don't want to give it away, but it followed. You find out what happens.
It followed the rules.
Yeah, it followed the rules really, really well and really creepily. So
we haven't rated it.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm really probably high on this one.
Yeah, I'm
like really high because I think I'm almost a 5, but not quite.
Well,
since I do decibels all the time. If I had to stick with the star system, I'd have to give it a 5, but I want to give it a 4.8 because there's a couple things that I thought could have been done better.
I give it a 3.9.
Really?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this a lot more.
Yeah.
Which is what I expected. That's why I suggested this one because I was like, we got to see that one.
Well, but I didn't disenjoy. I mean, the thing is,
no, 3.8 is a good rating.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Yeah, don't make me cry, bully. We're too picky. I got to tell you something. I would do a mixed story, but story time with Mick. But I am so exhausted. I've been talking constantly every weekend for so long now. Here we are at the end of it. We're a day past Halloween.
It's actually been a nice break for me because you're a little bit more calm and
I've been so stressed out going from one place to another trying to
I get really tired, which is good. Yeah. Otherwise I have to wear a helmet and take all the sharp things away from you.
Take the sharp things.
You disagree with me? See, yeah. Like when I disagreed with you on something, I can't remember what movie it was, but it's because I thought Saturn 3 was awesome. And you pulled the knife on me, I think.
I should have. Just a knife? I didn't have anything power actuated? Holy crap. I think a Ramset gun would have done for that one.
So coming up, what do we have? We hardly ever talk about what's coming up.
Yeah, what's it?
We had talked about doing The Wolfman. And possibly another one, but we won't mention that one.
The thing is I have a feeling that we're going to move into a classic period here for a little bit because horror films are great. This is not a great time of year for horror films.
We need to start kind of transitioning a little bit into sci-fi too. So maybe we could do some classic sci-fi.
That would be great. Let's do some classics. I'm for it.
Because after Halloween,
we have got to get
sci-fi.
We have got to get a hold of the Elm Street girls, and we have to finish our series of Elm Street movie reviews.
We've let the fans down, I think.
I think that we have. But wait.
Somebody had a book that kind of got,
We all know how this goes. It's now past Halloween.
Right. Now we're done with Halloween.
It's now time to take a nap.
Yes.
Little nap. Just a little nappy there. So, but we're gonna get a hold of the Elm Street girls. I think that we ought to cross over.
Yeah,
I think that we ought to cross over with the Boneheads because it's been a while, and
then at some point
retro movie review.
What, February-ish? We probably should do like Friday 13th.
Yeah, and then we have to get into the Jasons now. Friday the 13th, because I have to see at least a couple of them.
And I'd love to
before
have
I start working on
the director on the film,
Jeremy Brown,
whenever he's ready. Like it could be like toward the end, maybe.
Yeah.
When he's in post production.
What we'll do? We'll grab Jason Brooks and Jeremy Brown. We'll have
them on our show.
We'll grill them, and we'll tell you what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. I'll production design it and be the first AD.
Yes.
So I'll be kicking ass,
dusted him off.
taking names. I'll be kicking ass, taking names, and painting the walls pink.
How do they manage to dust you off and get you to to do some work?
That's a really good question. Unfortunately, I was around when somebody needed to do it, and I did it, and it's been that way ever since.
I think it's great that you go on other podcasts.
Yeah, so
we're gonna start having other podcasters on our show, I think, and then we're gonna vice versa. We're gonna be on their shows.
I think that we need to do that. I think that we need to concentrate on this podcast. I have another podcast that I'm going to be host of for a few weeks here.
Oh yeah,
and that's I think
that's a good. It's gonna be awesome for us too. I think.
I think it'll also expand my mind.
Yeah, a little bit
beyond this dungeon.
Ryan's kind of like a rubber band, isn't it? Kind of bounce back to where it started. But yeah, I have another. If we have another idea that I have as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
Of a little mini. It's kind of like a little portion that could be part of our podcast, or it could be a separate podcast.
Which is
itself.
Oh, you're going to tell me at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd mentioned this, and actually, the guy who's doing Vengeance kind of fits into this model
of
talking to filmmakers.
Filmmakers.
That are up and coming filmmakers.
Up and coming filmmakers.
And we can talk to them about their trials and tribulations of filmmaking, and then they can get your advice, obviously.
Ugh.
And then we can ask them questions, and they could talk about their movies and get them some exposure.
I could definitely pull a bunch of people in.
Yeah. So I mean, it could almost be a separate podcast, or it could be like a little part of ours that kind of happens once a month or something. I don't know.
Call it the basement of the dungeon.
I came with really
the dungeon
boring,
basement.
My really boring title was the forum, Nick's Film Forum. But no, let's
dungeon basement.
Beneath the dungeon.
I like beneath the dungeon.
Yes, that's
there
awesome.
you go. All right. Yeah.
So I think that could almost be a separate podcast.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's do beneath the dungeon. Yeah, I'm for it.
Cool.
Yeah, for makers of horror, horror films.
But there's obviously stipulations. That's to be like new people, new filmmakers, young people that need guidance from Mick and other people. Maybe we can bring in like William Butler or some other people that once in a while to be like mentors. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, William's just
he'd be fun,
tearing it up right now.
And he wouldn't
good.
BS them.
He's I don't think he's BS'd anything, and he's a straight up dude.
Yep. Well, if you like that idea, feel free to contact us.
Yeah. You know what? Once in a while, you never call. You never call.
Sometimes I stand outside the dungeon.
I just want people to say things to us.
Like I was outside the dungeon all night, and I was screaming for, is anybody listening to our podcast?
Well, I intentionally locked you out.
My neighbor said, shut up. So I don't know.
Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well, at DW Review, and, of course, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.